Good morning. It is 9:08 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Mason Fleming producing, Ken Weaver in the newsroom. You guys on the Members Nutrition text line and the phone lines at 615-737-9986. You can listen to the show wherever you go with the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the 99.7 WTN app. Podcasts are available after the fact on Spotify, Apple, and on our app. We had a great conversation yesterday with Susan Crabtree. She broke that story that is now one of the biggest stories in the country. Secret Service agent leaving her post during the Trump rally in North Carolina to breastfeed her 2-year-old.
Yeah, not a great look to break protocol without telling anybody.
No, not a good look one bit. Susan Crabtree is actually even breaking more news this morning. If you missed our interview yesterday, definitely check it out on the podcast. But
yeah, it's great.
This morning, Susan Crabtree is breaking more news. Biden has ordered Secret Service protection for former agency chief Kimberly Cheadle. Yeah, the Secret Service is now going to be providing Kimberly Cheadle a security detail in an unprecedented effort to protect a former agency chief amid lingering national anger about the myriad of security lapses under her watch. Those failures led to the assassination attempt against former President Trump, obviously, the death of firefighter Corey Compatore, according to three sources in the Secret Service community. Cheadle, I guess, has been facing a lot of online threats. Ongoing firestorm of fury from American citizens is how Susan Crabtree puts it, saying even rank-and-file Secret Service special agents and officers are upset with her over the agency's failures that created that opening for Thomas Crooks to open fire on Trump, taking a piece of his ear with him and killing Corey Compatore in front of his family. I can understand why people are mad, but President Biden has ordered taxpayer-funded protection of Cheadle, these sources say, because she was facing numerous threats, especially on social media, from individuals that were angry. So are they real threats, or is she getting bullied on social media? I do find it a bit funny that, they reacted to this much quicker than the request for RFK to get Secret Service protection. They reacted to this much quicker than the calls from the Trump campaign to ramp up Secret Service protection. But, I guess that's a story for another day. Susan Crabtree has that story over at Real Clear Politics. I've retweeted it on my account if you want to go find it, at Chris Hand on Air. Speaking of RFK, he's actually backed off that story that we ran yesterday. Colin Roog had a story. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter. He's fantastic. But Colin Roog ran a story saying RFK Jr. basically went to both campaigns and offered them an endorsement for a cabinet position. He did it with Trump, and he did it with Kamala. Well, now RFK Jr. is saying he has no plans to back Kamala Harris after reportedly seeking that meeting for a cabinet deal. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. declared Thursday he has no plans to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris. This is obviously in response to the backlash that he probably received, that he was looking for a cushy gig for an endorsement. The Washington Post was the first to report on Kennedy's request for a meeting, citing officials within the Kennedy campaign. In a Wednesday night text reported by the New York Times, Kennedy wrote, "We've reached out repeatedly through the highest level intermediaries. We've been told that they have no interest in talking with me." He went on Twitter and said, VP Harris's Democratic Party would be unrecognizable to my father and uncle, and I cannot reconcile it with my values. The Democratic Party of RFK and JFK was the party of civil liberties and free speech. VP Harris's Democrat Party is the party of censorship, lockdowns, and medical coercion. Kennedy Democrats were anti-war. Kamala is riddled with neocon warmongers. It's funny. He's right. Kennedy Democrats would be considered far right today. So I guess he's not going for a cabinet position anymore. Maybe he's just saying this because he got busted. I don't know. You tell me. I do want to get back today into Agenda Free Friday. We kind of took that and put it in a back seat, but we've had a lot of fun with it in the past, where we let you guys kind of dictate where the conversation goes. And it helps because the news cycle has been absolutely insane. It got a little bit too insane there for a while, where we kind of had to stay on topic and cover some stuff. But I want to bring that back today. If there's something you want to talk about, we'll talk about it at 615-737-9986. In the spirit of Agenda Free Friday, you can dictate where the conversation goes. I got a new poll here from Rasmussen. Trump leading Kamala in a Rasmussen poll, 49 to 45. Again, we like the polls we dislike the polls we don't. Murphy said it yesterday. I think he's spot on. They're using a lot of these polls to manufacture what the public feels is happening. And I think a lot of the polls are absolute garbage. And I don't want to spend too much time on it, but when we get a win, we should celebrate a win. And Donald Trump is leading Vice President Harris by 4 points nationally, 49-45 among likely voters, according to data from a new Rasmussen poll. She still hasn't answered any questions. She still hasn't done any interviews. She did a weird sit down with Tim Walz that we're going to cover today. But Joe Biden is actually out there taking more questions than Kamala Harris since becoming the nominee. He was asked this question by Peter Doocy yesterday.
Does it bother you that Vice President Harris might soon, for political reasons, start to distance herself from your economic
She's not going to.
You don't think she's going to?
Does it bother you that Vice President Harris might distance herself from your economic record? To which Biden shouts back, she's not going to. Do you hear that? She's not going to. Harris owns the economic policy of the Biden administration 100%. And Joe Biden seems pretty confident. That Harris isn't going to back away from that. He was also asked his thoughts on Trump wanting to make America affordable again.
Mr. Trump says he wants to make America affordable again. Your response? So he ought to get a job.
Oh, your response, he ought to get a job. Well, he will. November 5th. And I actually would be willing to bet that he's going to donate that paycheck again. Has Joe Biden donated his presidential paycheck? No. Donald Trump did, though. Weird. He was also asked, when will Kamala hold a news conference?
When will the vice president hold a news conference? You have to ask her. And also certain sedans.
You'll have to ask her. Well, we've been trying. The campaign won't commit to anything, and nobody really has any opportunities to ask Kamala anything. Not the same situation with Donald Trump, who held another press conference yesterday, and he took a bunch of questions. He was out there for what felt like almost 2 hours. It was well over an hour. Donald Trump in Bedminster, New Jersey, taking questions. And he started with a couple statements on Kamala Harris, and he mentioned that she's hiding from her record, but he's going to call it out.
I have some people.
Oh, wrong one right here.
Here is the record of economic calamity that Kamala is desperate for voters to ignore. She cast the tie-breaking votes that caused record inflation. She cast the votes. She's trying to blame Biden, as you know. So it was Biden, but I'm going to do a better job. But it was her. And if she wants to do a better job, she's still got 5 months left, right? But she can't do a better job because she doesn't know how to.
Yeah, she wants to do a better job. You got 5 months left. No more of this day one stuff, right? Day one. And then Trump said, Kamala will be easy to beat, but he does feel bad for poor old Joe Biden.
So I think she's going to be, in many ways, easier to beat than Joe Biden. What they did to him was disgraceful, by the way. And it really is a threat to democracy. It was a coup by people that wanted him out, and they didn't do not the way they're supposed to do it.
No, they threatened him behind the scenes. And poor Joe Biden had to go out and debate with Kamala, or go out and campaign with Kamala Harris yesterday. It was awkward as all get out. Harris and Biden at the rally. Was it just me? Did anybody else watch the Harris-Biden rally? Did you catch any clips on Twitter? She sounded just hammered drunk. You tell me if this is just me thinking Kamala sounds hammered drunk at this rally.
Our extraordinary President Joe Biden. And he's going to speak in a minute, but there's a lot of love in this room for our president.
Am I the only one?
That 100% sounds intoxicated.
Right? Is that just me?
Our extraordinary President Joe Biden. And he's going to speak in a minute, but there's a lot of love.
I love you, Joe.
There's so much love here for you.
And he's going to speak in a minute, but there's a lot of love in this room for our president.
Yeah, I don't know. Sylvie in Nashville wants to talk about Donald Trump's salary. Sylvie, you're up next on Super Talk. How you doing?
Hey, hi, Chris. Yeah, I was wondering, I haven't heard anything if he was getting himself a salary when he gets becomes president or not. Did you hear anything?
I haven't heard it yet from him, but I know that he didn't take one the last time he was in office. He donated it every year, and that the same can't be said about Joe Biden. The same is not going to be able to be said about Kamala Harris if she,
No.
gosh forbid, takes office. They'll keep those checks. Donald Trump is the only president to ever go into office and leave with less net worth than he went in with. And I appreciate your call, Sylvie. Charles in Columbia wants to talk about Kimberly Cheadle. What's up, Charles?
Hey, do you think maybe she's getting protection because she was complicit in the whole thing? So it's like, you either protect me or I start dropping the bombs.
I'm not exactly sure about that. I mean, anything is possible, but I don't think that they would give her protection over that. I mean, if you're operating from the position of she was in on it and she's only getting protection because she might start, telling the truth, well, then you're operating from a position that the government is evil enough that they could just get rid of her anyway and it would be a lot easier, right? Like, if you're going to go down those conspiracy theory holes, it's like, okay, well, let's follow them all the way through. If the government is that evil, well, then why would they do something kind?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where my mind goes.
Yeah, and that makes sense. But, I also go down the path of they're going to protect her because she protected them. And tit for tat. And honestly, I'm to the point where I don't doubt anything that they'll do. I think they will go to any means possible to get rid of Trump. And I personally look for another assassination attempt before the election, particularly if the polls are accurate, like the one that you just quoted.
Yeah, the Rasmussen poll. Who knows about the polls right now? I mean, we're gonna find out, and I think everything's gonna change post debate, Charles. As far as another assassination attempt before the election, yeah, it wouldn't shock me. The Secret Service is making new plans for outdoor rallies, 3 sides of bulletproof glass, kind of what we saw on January 6th. Do you remember that when he gave his speech in D.C.? He was surrounded by that glass. That's what it's going to look like at outdoor rallies. But there's a lot coming out on the Secret Service. The FBI quickly releasing the body for cremation on Thomas Matthew Crooks. That news dropped yesterday, which is just shocking. Shocking. Clay Higgins put this out. My effort to examine Crooks' body on Monday, August 5th caused quite a stir and revealed a disturbing fact. The FBI released the body for cremation 10 days after July 13th. On July 23rd, Crooks was gone. Nobody knew this until Monday, August 5th, including the county coroner. A lot of weird circling that, right? Stephen in Paris, I see you hanging on the line. We'll get to you next. It's Agenda Free Friday on the Chris Hand Show. Anything you want to talk about, we can talk about. Plus, I do want to talk about a guy named Dr. Umar. You may have heard of him on Twitter. He calls himself a civil rights activist. I definitely don't think he's voting for Trump, but when I play you this audio, I think we're both going to agree he's not voting for Kamala either. It's 9:22 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Still got that crash in Goodlettsville. It's got the left 2 lanes blocked. That is 65 southbound at Rivergate Parkway. New security measures for former President Trump on the campaign trail, and we're hearing from Corey Campetor's widow and daughters for the first time since that attempt on former President Trump's life took his. That's coming up at 9:30 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Man, I heard those clips on my way in this morning. If you haven't heard
it's heartbreaking.
From Corey's wife and daughter, definitely stay tuned for that. It is. It's heartbreaking. I said before the break, I wanted to play this clip from Dr. Umar. You may not know who he is. Just a little backstory. I actually got my start in hip-hop in radio. Mm-hmm. And I follow a lot of these cultural guys. And Umar posted this online where he posts text messages of the Harris campaign reaching out to him, offering him money for an interview. And he has that on the screen. And while that's on the screen, he starts exposing guys in hip-hop, in the media, in black culture, for taking the money. And
interesting.
It's kind of eye-opening. Now, I don't agree with Umar on quite a bit, the majority. But I have to tell you, I respect the hell out of somebody for going out there and telling the truth like this.
Black vote ain't for sale no more. Black vote ain't for sale. We bartering on business. We standing on business. Bring us some tangibles or get out of my face. Ricky Smiley, I love you. But crying on the radio for Kamala Harris, my brother, that's an all-time low. Don't do that again, Ricky Smiley. Don't you get on your radio show and cry for Kamala. Don't you do that, my brother. If you want to cry for Kabama Harris, you do that in the privacy of your house. But if we're going to be honest, Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley, and I love you both, no hate to my big brothers, but if we're going to be honest, Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey, y'all only carried on because y'all got paid to carry on. Can we please be honest? Can we see?
He's got a lot more to say. He's got a lot more to say. Now, Ricky Smiley has like a national radio show. Yeah. Steve Harvey has a national radio show. You know Steve Harvey. You may not know Ricky Smiley. You probably don't know Dr. Umar. But the fact that this guy is going out there and exposing them like this is wild. I'll play you the rest after the break. Here's Ken with the news on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
9:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, got a crash. It's blocking 2 left lanes of 65 southbound in Goodlettsville, right there at Rivergate Parkway. Bulletproof glass will surround former President Donald Trump at his campaign rallies moving forward as the Secret Service aims to increase security on the campaign trail. And we're hearing from relatives of the Pennsylvania firefighter fatally shot during the attempt on former President Trump's life last month. Corey Campetor's daughter, Kaylee Campetor, describing her father's final moments.
I started screaming, but in my head, I kept saying, wake up, like this is a dream, wake up. And then you realize it's not a dream, and you feel like your whole world is just over.
Corey's widow, Helen, telling ABC Pittsburgh affiliate WTAE the family's hired an attorney to get answers from the rally security lapses that day. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
.937 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Got such a nice text from Christine here on the Members Nutrition text line. The election isn't about Kamala and Trump. It's about you and your families. Some media outlets look at the job only as a job, but I believe you guys care about the United States and want the best outcome for U.S. citizens. Amen. Thank you for the text, Christine. We do. We do want what's best for families. That's the biggest part of all of this. That's what we're fighting for. I'm fighting for my kids in a future, and your kids in a future, and your grandkids in a future. That's what we all want. And you know what? I think that the largest portion of the country wants the exact same thing. Just some prosperity, some opportunity, not having to decide between summer camp and school supplies and, making those hard decisions. Do we do baseball practice? Do we do Little League this year, or do we do a family vacation? That's the stuff that really matters. And you get guys out here gaslighting for Kamala Harris for a check. And I feel a little weird sometimes because I get paid to give my opinion, full disclosure, that I do. But the biggest difference is I don't get paid to be told what my opinion is, right? I just get paid to give it. And it's a blessing. I'm grateful for that. And I look at guys like Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey, they're getting paid to be told what their opinion is. And you look at these influencers online who are getting paid to put out positive Kamala content, they're getting paid to be told what their opinion is. And that's slimy to me. It is so slimy. And I'll just reset. I started it in hip-hop radio, Jammin' 94.5 in Boston. That's where I got my start. I was in the weeds in black culture and in hip-hop, and I get it. I was texting with one of my friends, Cool DJ Foot, last night. Street sweeper, DJ Foot, and one of the best guys I know. Great guy. He's probably going to vote for Kamala. And I sent him this video of Umar, Dr. Umar, calling out Kamala Harris at her campaign for paying Steve Harvey for puff pieces, for paying Ricky Smiley for puff pieces, for paying these influencers for positive coverage. And I said, what do you think about it? And he said, well, man, at least somebody's out there saying the truth. And I respect him for that. And I do too. I'm not going to agree with the majority of his political opinions, this Dr. Umar, but the fact that he is putting this out there is massive.
Black vote ain't for sale no more. Black vote ain't for sale. We bartering on business. We standing on business. Bring us some tangibles or get out of my face. Ricky Smiley, I love you, but crying on the radio for Kamala Harris, my brother, that's an all-time low. Don't do that again, Ricky Smiley. Don't you get on your radio show and cry for Kamala. Don't you do that, my brother. If you want to cry for Kamala Harris, you do that in the privacy of your house. But if we're going to be honest, Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley, and I love you both, no hate to my big brothers, but if we're going to be honest, Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey, y'all only carried on because y'all got paid to carry on. Can we please be honest? Can we be honest?
Can we be honest? You're getting paid for your support. Dr. Umar says we want tangibles. Oh, you mean like the Platinum Plus plan from Donald Trump or opportunity zones from Donald Trump? The fact that Donald Trump wanted to raise these communities up and give people the chance to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, to bring out that old phrase, dust it off. But these other guys, they're just taking checks. And meanwhile, Kamala Harris is importing new citizens and giving them benefits, giving them taxpayer dollars, giving them hotel rooms. And then for what? For what? It's funny because Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley will get paid for this, but their finger is so far away from the pulse of what's really happening on the ground. And what's really happening on the ground is being exposed every day on the internet. There's a woman in New York who is walking around. She leaves her apartment. She's walking around New York, and she's pointing out illegal alien families with children begging on the street for money, and she is fed up with it as an American citizen.
I work downtown, right? I'm going to show you how many of them comes outside with the same amount of kids, with the same sign asking for money. That's one set. People, you see the different kids. Now watch this. Right across the street, you're going to see her cousin. And people really stop and give the money. You know how much they're making? It should be illegal.
Yep, it should be.
Nothing against, I'm going to just keep my comments to myself. But, Kamala, this is why we need a border, okay? Because they come in here and they doing the dumb shit.
This is why we need a border, Kamala. This is why we need a border. And meanwhile, these young black voters are struggling to make ends meet in these major cities because the inflation that Kamala Harris has caused by being the deciding vote in the Inflation Reduction Act, it's making it unlivable out here. Unlivable. There's a 20-year-old woman on she was on MSNBC, and the host was shocked that she even said this. She's like, guys, I'm pissed about the economy.
20 years old. Why is a one-bedroom apartment $600, $1,600? Like, oh my God, for 500 square foot.
One at a time, I said. Yeah.
Rent prices is outrageous. And then these jobs, they're bare minimum jobs. Like, I'm supposed to be in customer service. Before I was a server, I was working at like fast food restaurants, and nothing against them, love it, but we need them jobs. But why are you yelling at me over a burger? So it's one of those type of things. It's like the work life, trying to balance out school, trying to balance out finding housing. It's just overhyped. Like, I really waited my whole life to grow up and do this.
Yeah, you sure did. Now, at 20 years old, I mean, you got to be pretty radicalized at this point, right? You went through the pandemic as you were about to graduate, and, you know, they shut that down on you. They closed all the jobs. And then in the meantime, they started importing massive numbers of illegal aliens, and then they gave them the benefits. And then the media types, they gaslight you because they're getting paid to do it. They're getting paid to do it. I love this Dr. Umar video. He continues to call out guys like Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley endorsing Kamala because they're paid to.
I want y'all to understand, overstand, and understand what King Kong is talking about. Y'all carried on because y'all got paid to carry on.
Yep.
Kamala Harris and the Democratic plantation is paying you celebrities, paying you to shame black people into voting. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of that vote. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of that vote. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of the vote, but they being paid, y'all being bought. They offer me $10K for an interview with Kamala Harris. I don't want your money, but we can definitely do the interview.
Offered him $10,000 to do an interview. $10,000. Credit to him. He said, I'm not being bought. We can do the interview, but it's on his terms. Again, there's not a lot I'm going to agree with this guy politically on, but I respect the absolute crap out of him going out there and exposing this. And again, while he's posting this video on the screen, it's the text message from the Kamala campaign. Hey, Dr. Umar. And this guy has a massive following. People are seeing this message.
They offer me $10K for an interview with Kamala Harris. I don't want your money, but we can definitely do the interview. They offer me $10K for an interview with Kamala Harris. Yes, we can do the interview. Keep your damn money. King Kong consciousness ain't for sale. I'm one of the real ones.
Good for him. Good for him. Again, you have to understand what's happening online right now. And in the black community, I truthfully believe, and I've been saying this for a while, Donald Trump is going to get more of the black vote than any Republican candidate in the history of the country. Ever. I think that they are shocked at the support that Donald Trump has in the black community. I think they're terrified about the support Donald Trump has in the black community. And that's why they have to gaslight people. That's why they have to pay Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey to pay to endorse Kamala Harris and do these puff pieces.
Don't come to me with no propositions for money. I don't live for no money. I'm not one of these goofy ass rappers whose whole life is nothing but what you can buy and own. You dealing with real African DNA. This is real ancestral energy over here. I'm not no Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey. You don't drop no check off and say, get the Negroes to the plantation on November the 4th.
I mean, absolute savage.
That's the culture in the rap world, man. They get after each other.
He's an absolute savage. And listen, can you blame him? You look at the Democrat control in a lot of these cities. I've told this story before. I lived outside of Detroit for a while, and I remember looking left and looking right at this family event that we were at, and I said, guys, we've had Democrats in control of Detroit for how long now? I moved there when the city was going bankrupt, 2013. Mm-hmm. And I said, why don't you just try the other way? What could possibly get worse?
Yeah.
And they looked at me like I was insane. But I think that guys like this are actually going to wake people up in that community. Like, I am being actively lied to every single day. And you know what? More and more people are waking up. There's a guy in New York. This video has been going viral. A Latino guy. And he's tired. He says, listen, I'm tired of the Democrats in control of New York. I'm tired of the Democrats, and I'm tired of the rhinos. And this video, I'll let him speak for himself, but I feel like this is the actual temperature on the ground.
Voting for Trump. We're going to be voting red all the way down ticket. We're going to get Mayor Adams out of here. We're going to get AOC out of here. It's over. We're tired. That's it.
Good. You think that New York? You think that New York is fed up with Democrats?
Yes. AOC had the ability. She voted against Amazon coming in creating jobs. Dumb. The Green New Deal is space. It's a scam.
AOC voted against Amazon creating 25,000 jobs in New York City. People don't forget this stuff.
For Trump, I voted for Obama the first time. And then I saw that he was full of because he was nothing but divisive in this country.
Yep. I'm curious what you would say to a person who says like Trump, the average Trump voter is like a white dude, right?
No, the average Trump voter is not a white dude. The average Trump voter is an American who cares about their country.
Amen.
That's another false narrative. All these Trump supporters, they're racist white people from the Midwest. No, it's not. Trump supporters are Americans that are tired of the bull that's constantly going on in this country with these liberals and these rhinos.
Go off, man. He said, what do you think about the average Trump supporter being a white guy? No. Trump supporters are not a Midwestern racist white guy. Trump supporters love the country and the people in it.
The average Trump voter is like a white dude, right?
No, the average Trump voter is not a white dude. The average Trump voter is an American who cares about their country. That's another false narrative. All these Trump supporters, they're racist white people from the Midwest. No, it's not. Trump supporters are Americans that are tired of the bull that's constantly going on in this country with these liberals and these rhinos.
I mean, listen, I love the fact that he doesn't spare the rhinos either. I love that he doesn't spare the rhinos. The average Trump voter loves the country. That's your average Trump voter. Any color, any nationality, any religion. If you love the country, you love the people in this country, well, congratulations, welcome. That's your average Trump voter. And the Democrats are being exposed almost daily, whether it comes to the Google ads that she's paying for to fake positive headlines, whether it comes to the paid social media influencers, whether it comes to the paid rally attendees. They're being exposed daily. And I love to see it. On the way, Donald Trump does things that Kamala doesn't, like answer questions from the press. And I'll play you some of those questions that he answered. And he goes after a certain news network that we don't look too fondly on either. ABC, we'll play that clip on the way. It's 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and I got to tell you about my friends at Paul Winkler Inc. In these kind of times, your financial future is more important than ever. But there's a lot of uncertainty, right? We're in election season. What's going to happen if Trump wins? What's going to happen if Kamala wins? Well, you want to have a guy on your team that can break it all down for you and break it down in a way that you can understand. And that's why I trust Paul Winkler and Paul Winkler Inc. You probably know Paul. He hosts the Investor Coaching Show every Saturday here on WTM from 3 to 6. That's appointment listening. You can learn a lot from the show. That's how I first met Paul, was listening to his show. And now that I know him personally, I got to tell you, he's the same guy that you hear on the air. Honest, legit, smart, little funny. And he'll do the exact same thing for you that he's done for me. He'll take the stress out of your money. So call Paul and his team. Set up a free 15-minute phone call today. You can do that right on his website, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com. I do get paid to do these commercials, but I don't get paid to be a client. I'm a client because I trust Paul, paulwinkler.com.
Won't you take me back to Tennessee?
I'm going to give it away. We're going to do TikTok today.
Oh, TikTok or talk?
Talk.
Okay.
TALK.
Spring is here. Today we're going to talk about ticks. Bugs are coming out. Unfortunately, ticks are coming out. People are going to be out in the woods. First, the types of ticks.
American dog tick, the black-legged deer tick, the Lone Star tick. We've got a Gulf Coast tick. Got a new one coming in, the longhorn tick. These are the ones we need to watch out for. 75% of vector transmitted diseases now are from ticks. Rocky Mountain spotted fever, rickelosis, tularemia, Lyme disease, almost flu-like. You're going to run a fever. You may or may not get a rash in the saliva. They secrete the cement to glue themselves in.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great.
So you need to get some tweezers, get down on that capitulum and grab it and pull the tick off. Do not grab the body. A lot of people think ticks drop out of trees. They don't drop out of trees. And they can't jump. And they can't fly.
So they're in the leaves, on the plants and things.
On the grass.
On the
leaves of the grass. And they do this number with their front legs. And that's called questing. They are sensing a prey item coming by. They'll take those legs and latch on and then crawl up.
And then there you go. You're battling it.
Goodlettsville, you still got a problem there on 65 southbound. The left 2 lanes are blocked due to a crash at Rivergate Parkway. Secret Service making some changes on the campaign trail. We'll tell you more about it at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken. I do want to get to this clip of Donald Trump answering questions at the press conference, but real quick, Bill in Nashville is on the line. Bill, what do you want to talk about, man?
Well, I just wanted to say that, the talk of mass deportations early on seemed good. It certainly rallied the base, which, it is what it is. But in his speech yesterday, Trump focused on we've got to get rid of the criminals. And I've said for the longest time that the Republicans are just as complicit as the Democrats in this open border policy. Not all, but most. And I think that they're going to be very, very selective in who gets deported. And I think after this election, after the first of the year, you're going to see soon the very first bipartisan bill for a long, long time, basically saying they're here. We really can't find them. We can't collect them. We can't deport them. So we don't have a choice but to allow them a path to citizenship through military. They destroyed the police force in recruitment. So you already have in Chicago illegals being trained as police officers. So, and you've got, I know the Chicago school district is
I disagree. I think he says he's going to start with the criminals, and they're going to go from there. I appreciate the call. We're up against it. On the way, I do want to talk about that a little bit more. I think mass deportations are absolutely on the table. I think you just need to start with the criminals and the murderers and the rapists. And yeah, he did seem a little bit more tempered in his tone, but I think that was by design. He also said that the police know exactly who they are, and he's going to be working with local law enforcement to get them out. He said a lot of things at that press conference yesterday. He answered questions, something Kamala Harris doesn't do. The big question was, do you regret debating Biden so early? And that got him into where the next debate is going to be held, ABC. We'll talk about that next after Ken Weaver's newscast on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ten o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Going to tell you about the potential for some severe weather here in Middle Tennessee. Bulletproof glass will surround former President Donald Trump at his camp rallies moving forward as the Secret Service aims to increase security on the campaign trail following the attempt on his life a month ago in Pennsylvania. CNN says it's been told there will also be more agents on the job. Meanwhile, the widow of the firefighter killed in the attempt on former President Trump's life is speaking out for the first time. Helen Campator telling ABC Pittsburgh affiliate WTAE they've hired an attorney to get answers about why security was so poor.
I'm angry, obviously. My husband took a bullet for him, but, that unfortunately was the plan that day.
The bipartisan House task force investigating the attempt on Trump's life meets in person for the first time in 10 days. The first case of the new, more dangerous strain of monkeypox found outside of Africa, a case confirmed in Sweden. Here's Eva Pilgrim with more.
Mpox is now confirmed on at least 2 continents, causing increased concern about possible international spread. Swedish health officials now reporting a case of Mpox in the Stockholm area. This after the World Health Organization declared the virus as a public health emergency of international concern because of the rapid spread in several African countries.
The European Union pledging 200,000 vaccine doses to Congo to try to focus efforts there. Meanwhile, the head of the African CDC estimates some 10 million doses will eventually be required. And the jersey that legendary New York Yankees player Babe Ruth wore when he hit one of baseball's most famous home runs could sell for $30 million this month. That would make it by far the most expensive game-worn jersey ever sold. Ruth was wearing his road gray number 3 when he played against the Cubs in 1932 World Series. He appeared to gesture towards something in center field just before hitting a fifth-inning home run into the bleachers. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand. You can listen to us wherever you go on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, 99.7 WTN app. You can watch us on Super Talk TV, on on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Almost melted everything together. Donald Trump did something that Kamala Harris doesn't do. He took questions from the press. Again. And the conversation started with a question about God's intervention during the assassination attempt. The intervention by God. And I was very happy about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's discussing, what I called divine intervention that day. I looked at that assassination attempt. I said, if it's anything other than divine intervention, I don't know how you explain it. And a reporter asked him about it, and here was his response.
My sons are very...
Oh, this one right here.
Thank you, President Trump. You've spoken very passionately about how God saved your life, and I'm wondering, have you put much thought into why God saved your life, as in, for what purpose has he been shielding and protecting you?
So, I don't know if you heard the question. You've spoken about God saving your life, that I've spoken passionately about it. And something happened, because that was a miracle. I never looked that way. The audience was massive, and it was in front of me. I never have that particular graph. That was a graph on, as you all know now, that it's very, I think everyone knows it very well, but it showed the great numbers on illegal immigration. It was the lowest point we've ever had. and it was one that I use less than 20% of the time. It's always at the end of the speech, not at the beginning of the speech, and it's always on the left side, not the right side.
I'd never heard how many coincidences there were before this question was asked. It's always, the screen is always on the right side, never on the left. All the things he said. It makes it feel even more divine.
And yet, for some reason, I called it. It's not on a teleprompter. I do things largely without a teleprompter, frankly, because it's hard to hold an audience if you're going to go for an hour and a half or 2 hours reading a script. And I just talked about it, and I moved to my right, turned sharply to my right, ping. And if I didn't do that, I'm not here with you. So, yeah, God has something to do with it. It's a miracle. And God had something to do with it. And maybe it's we want to save the world. This world is going down. This world is going down. So it could be. But I believe that.
Yeah, I believe it was divine intervention completely. And he brings up the fact that his sons are like, Dad, that was an easy shot. It was an easy shot that they took on you.
My sons are very good shooters. They're like scratch golfers, better, relatively speaking, with shooters. Great shooters. And Eric and Don both told me from 130 yards. I said, well, that's pretty far away, isn't it? They said, no, that's like a 1-foot putt with, weapons like the one being used. Plus, he was a good shooter. This guy was a good shooter. He went to the range and shot a lot, and he was supposed to be a pretty good shooter. They said a bad shooter would hit the target almost 100% of the time. So something happened. And I have to say the Secret Service sniper did an amazing job. He had 5 seconds to find the target and hit the target, and he hit the target within, think of this, 5 seconds. And he was much further away because he was over here, and this other person was over there. So you have to give credit. And I have to also say about the Secret Service, when I was hit, I knew it because when I touched, there was blood pouring all over my hand. I said, I guess I know what that is. And I was going down for protection. And they were screaming, get down, get down. There was bullets. And those Secret Service guys were, and person, Kate, they were on top of me in a matter of, I think, 3 seconds. It was time dead.
It's incredible after all this time. It's been about a month. The mainstream media doesn't want to talk about it. They'll talk about January 6th for 2 years and have huge investigations live on TV, the J6 committee, all this and that. Then we learn they've quietly cremated the body of Thomas Matthew Crooks. They didn't tell anybody about it. They released the crime scene after 3 days. Who does that? And with all of the chaos around it, the mainstream media doesn't want to touch it. Trump has been very calm about this whole thing. Trump could very well, and a lesser man, myself included, would have been just irate and angry, wondering about the failures. And he really hasn't trashed the Secret Service at all. And even in light of all that, there's new Secret Service scandals coming out every single day. Like what we talked about with Susan Crabtree yesterday, a Secret Service agent leaving her post to go breastfeed her 2-year-old. 5 minutes before Donald Trump is to arrive in North Carolina. Where is he? Where's the Secret Service agent? Where is she? They had to go find her. They found her in a private room in the back that's designated for emergency only with 2 family members that hadn't been cleared by Secret Service. Like, even with all that chaos, he hasn't disparaged the Secret Service at all. He celebrates them, actually. And this was actually the most critical I have heard Donald Trump be of the Secret Service since that day in Butler, Pennsylvania. This is the most critical.
And bullets were coming out. I would hear the bullet. I didn't realize you could hear it, but now I know very well. Those bullets were going right over my head. They were there and very brave. There was nobody that said, I'm not going to be going there. They just, they were there very quickly, and they were very brave. There were mistakes made, obviously. He shouldn't have been up there. The roof should have been taken care of, and there were mistakes made. There's no question about it. But there was a lot of bravery also. We have to remember that.
That is the most critical I have ever heard Donald Trump of the Secret Service after the assassination attempt. And even in his most critical moment of them, he follows up with, but we have to acknowledge the bravery.
And there were mistakes made, obviously. He shouldn't have been up there. The roof should have been taken care of, and there were mistakes made. There's no question about it. But there was a lot of bravery also. We have to remember that.
I don't know if I would be that calm when it comes to the Secret Service. Honestly. How can you not be angry? He doesn't seem angry at all. He acknowledges mistakes were made, but he hasn't disparaged any of the Secret Service officers. He hasn't disparaged any of the local police. He hasn't responded to the assassination attempt in anger. And he very easily could have. But he hasn't. I think that's a huge credit to Donald Trump. In light of the assassination attempt, he could have come back with a fiery rhetoric that could have absolutely torched the country. But he didn't. And even in that moment of being critical of the Secret Service, he's not too critical. He's just stating the obvious. And he responds with, even with those mistakes, we have to understand and look at the bravery of these agents. Michelle in Clarksville wants to talk about the assassination attempt. What's up, Michelle?
Hey, so I'm in the military for 25 years. When I saw the story about this, and I said, this is our president, and once a president, and it will hopefully be another president. But his status was my thing, and security, there shouldn't have been anything to penetrate the security that the perimeters around his speech. So when I was looking at it, I said, how does a civilian sniper 2 hours prior to the speech penetrate that event area? That should have been covered like the morning, the hours before our president of his status gets out there to speak. So that was my thing, is being in the military for 25 years. I look at that, and I've seen many presidents or many vice presidents that have come to Fort Campbell and Fort Hood in the past, and you know that somebody important is going to be in the area because the whole place is covered in security. It's so...
Yeah, I mean, even the... And I appreciate your call and your service, Michelle. Thank you. Even the perimeter itself should have included that AGR building, you know? The perimeter should have been a little bit larger. They should have had snipers on the roof. There's a lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda. And it doesn't seem like we're getting much more new information, which always and obviously leads to speculation. Naturally, right? But Donald Trump is moving forward. And I mean, gosh, the mainstream media was ready to move forward the day after. They don't want to talk about this anymore at all. They'll talk about January 6th for 2+ years, and they'll probably bring it back up again before the election, but they don't want to talk about this assassination attempt. Not one bit. Not one bit. Trump is moving forward, too. And he was asked yesterday about the debates with Joe Biden and if he regrets if they were done a little too early.
Do you regret debating President Biden so early on in the race?
Do I regret debating Biden? So it was his request. He said we should get the debates on early, and I was willing. Don't forget, I got CNN, I got Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. They're not Trump people. They wanted to have a debate where their mics are turned off when the other person's answering the question. They gave me every single thing that I couldn't approve, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. So they got the debate on their terms. They got the network that they dreamt of. But that was really his decision. I had to decide whether or not I felt I wanted to debate him. And I think they didn't want to debate, but I agreed to every single thing. It was a debate where they said, we'll give him something that it'll be impossible for him to accept, and I accepted all the terms, other than when they had us sitting down at a desk, and I said, I think that makes us look bad. I don't want to sit down. Let's stand up. And they agreed to that. Other than that, we gave them CNN, we gave them Dana, and we gave them Jake. And by the way, I have to say, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash were unbelievably straight. and honest, and I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yep.
A lot of people were saying you couldn't have a fair debate. I think we have that with ABC.
This is the part where I'd love Ken to jump in. He starts going in on ABC. ABC is the host of the next debate, and Trump has some choice words for ABC.
I have some people at ABC that don't like me too much. I find it to be about the worst. George Slobodopoulos. I have a lot of people at ABC that I find it to be actually the most unfair of all the networks, and they want to do it on ABC. Whatever.
You know what, though? And that's what he says. Bring it on. And let's do it, because it is what it is. This man knows they're coming at him. And what he's talking about the facts that ABC will leave out of their reporting to try to make this man look bad.
Well, it's like lying by omission. And then you had an issue the other day where they'll report news, but they'll also editorialize during the news. What happened there?
Yeah, well, it was after J.D. Vance had talked about the fact that the Harris-Waltz campaign tries to paint inflation slowing down as a positive, whereas it's not really, because prices are still going up, and they're going up from where they were elevated over the past 3 years. And he said Kamala hasn't fixed that and is the reason for it. And then the anchor comes on and says, well, the government doesn't really control the economy. That's the news anchor, and a news anchor's job is not to editorialize. You give the facts, and you let the listener decide for themselves.
Yep, and our news guy sent a message to ABC and said that wasn't the right thing to do.
No, and their editors, they don't like me.
That's why we love you.
Because I'm telling you, man, I'm about truthful reporting, and that goes for even if it's bad, even for Trump. As long as it's truthful.
100%. You got to let the truth out, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent.
But the only thing they have focused on from the only thing they have focused on from Trump's press conference yesterday is how he's a bully, how he's saying this. They brought up the comment that he made about Elon Musk firing Twitter employees who he couldn't trust.
Yeah.
As if that's some sort of knock against good workers in this country, and it's not. And this network is constantly attacking this man, and they are doing a disservice to Americans who rely on them for truth.
100%. And Trump actually went after the fact that, they're saying he attacks Kamala personally. He addressed that during his press conference, and we'll play that for you after the break. It was actually quite a funny moment. He said, Kamala attacks me personally as well. I'll play that for you next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. First, I got to tell you about my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. The guys at Busy Bee are the best. I'm a Beehive Club member, full disclosure, and I love being a Beehive Club member because if anything ever goes wrong with my AC unit or with my heat in the winter, I get front-of-the-line service, and that happened to me over the summer. I had an issue pop up with my AC, called Busy Bee, and because I'm a Beehive Club member, I had priority front-of-the-line service. They were at my home in less than an hour. It pays in so many ways to be a Beehive Club member. You get so much value. It's only $99, and you get 3 annual tune-ups, 1 for your heating, 1 for your cooling, 1 for your plumbing, a 10% discount on repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, a $100 annual accrued replacement credit with a maximum of $1,000, no overtime or holiday fees, and exclusive Beehive member promotions. Plus, right now through the end of August, when you buy one, you get one free. It's their back-to-school promotion, so you buy your Beehive Club membership, and then you give one to a teacher, faculty member, or coach in your student's life. It's the best deal in AC. It's from Busy Bee, your Rude Pro partner. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833. Online at busybeehvac.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Got good news, Goodlettsville. It looks like they have just cleared that crash that was blocking 2 lanes of 65 southbound at Rivergate Parkway. And we're going to tell you about the new security measures the Secret Service is going to implement on the campaign trail and let you hear more from the family of the firefighter killed during the attempt on Trump's life. That's coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken. It is 10:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of people on the Super Text line saying, and this is why Ken Weaver is the best. Best newsman in the business, Ken Weaver, talking about how he sends personal fact checks to ABC.
Legend.
And he signs them. He signs them with love, Weaves.
Weaves is great.
It's awesome. I looked up, and we have CNN on the studio. I blame Murphy, as I always do. He does
a good name to blame.
He does it so you don't have to. If I look up and it says CNN, the chyron, the little ticker on the bottom said, Trump struggles to stay on message during incoherent, rambling press conference.
I think they're just projecting.
What a joke. What a joke.
Yeah.
But if you listen to it on your own, that wasn't exactly what happened at all. They did ask him a bunch of questions, including how he's personally attacking Kamala Harris, and Trump responded with, "What? She's personally attacked me? That's fair game."
She certainly attacks me personally. She actually called me weird. He's weird. It was just a soundbite. And she called J.D. and I weird. He's not weird. He was a great student at Yale. He went to Ohio State, graduated in 2 years, at the top of his class, and all of these different things. And
they called me weird. I love the way he says that.
She actually called me weird. He's weird.
J.D. graduated at the top of his class. That's not weird.
I mean, you have him saying...
then he says, you know who's weird is her running mate.
And all of these different things. And we have this guy that's running a very failed state, who's had a terrible career. I mean, you have him saying they're weird. No, he's a weird guy. And she's weird in her policy. Who wouldn't want to have strong borders? Who doesn't want to have lower taxes? You know, all my life I've watched as politicians campaigned, and I've always been on, you know, for the most part on the other side, on the side that these people are on. And they always talked about, we're going to reduce taxes. This is the only campaign I've ever heard where they're saying, we're going to increase your taxes.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Is this Trump rambling and being incoherent? I feel like that was a very coherent thought. He's rambling again. See, the mainstream media trusts you not to listen to this on your own and make your own conclusions. And you know what? Unfortunately, for a large portion of the population, that they're right. They're right. People aren't going to sit there and listen to the whole press conference. But we'll break it down for you. We'll play you all the clips, and you can find all this stuff on the internet. And I think internet culture is really leaning towards Trump. He wasn't rambling an off message at all. He was very on brand about Harris and how she's going to do all of this stuff on day one. He said day one happened 3.5 years ago. He did say that there are some things that Harris can deliver, though. She can definitely deliver some things for the American people.
And the only thing Kamala Harris can deliver is horrific inflation, massive crime, and the death of the American dream. She is in favor of the death of the American dream because everything she does really stops, any one of these items stops the American dream. We want our youth to go back and dream of being successful.
Yeah, and that's what Trump voters want, a future for their kids and grandkids. And we look at the state of the country, and we're not sure that future is going to be there if a Kamala Harris, Tim Waltz ticket wins. But this is rambling. This is incoherent. This is unhinged, according to the mainstream media. Are you kidding? I thought he was on brand, on message the entire press conference. And he talked about so much. We have more of the audio on the way. And he was asked if he would do this again. And he said, you know, to be honest with you, I didn't want to do it this time, but I felt I had to. I'll play you the rest of that answer after Ken Weaver's newscast on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
10:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we are under risk for severe weather here in Middle Tennessee. We're talking about the main threats during the full forecast, the timeline too, during the full forecast in 2 minutes. We're learning about new security measures on the campaign trail moving forward in this election 2024 update. CNN says bulletproof glass will surround former President Trump at his campaign rallies. And there will be more Secret Service agents on the job, too. CNN says they have been told that by the Secret Service. Meanwhile, the family of the firefighter killed during the attempt on Trump's life last month is speaking out for the first time.
I started screaming, but in my head, I kept saying, wake up, like this is a dream, wake up. And then you realize it's not a dream, and you feel like your whole world is just over.
Corey Comparator's daughter, Kaylee, describing her father's final moments on ABC Pittsburgh affiliate WTAE. The family says it has hired attorneys to get answers to why security lapsed. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
10:35 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. You can listen to us wherever you go. Tune in, iHeart, the 99.7 WTN app. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Super Talk TV. Hello. Appreciate you guys tuning in, however you are, wherever you are. The show is better when you're involved. Mason producing, Ken Weaver in the newsroom. We're talking about, as CNN puts it, the incoherent rambling of Donald Trump yesterday at his press conference. It was incoherent. And it was incoherent. Okay. I tend to think that the promises Kamala Harris makes are incoherent. Did you hear her yesterday at the rally with Biden? That was a little incoherent. We've had 3.5 years of incoherent rambling.
Yeah, I was going to say, if that's Trump being incoherent, then the Democrats have never spoken a word of like an earth language in their lives.
Honestly. Trump brought up the fact that Kamala is talking about all this stuff that she'll do on day one. He was asked, hey, she's saying all these things that she's going to do day one. What are you going to do day one? And Trump said, oh, I'll tell you.
Follow-up question, if I could. Kamala's been promising on day one, I'll do this. And for basically 4 years, she's promised this day one.
Yeah.
What will you do on day one to turn this country around?
So she is saying when she gets in, she's in now. And especially with Biden, because, he's not in the best of shape. But you know what? She's in there now. She can do anything she wants.
She's in there now. She can do anything she wants. Biden's not in the best of shape. No.
And she's still saying, if you elect me, I'll do this, I'll do... Why didn't she do it? Here's my one question. It's the easiest question. Because she complains about everything. Why didn't she do it? That's all I ask.
Why didn't she?
On day one, we're going to drill, baby, drill, and we're going to close the border, and we're going to let people come in, but they're going to come in legally. They're going to come into our country legally. But on day one, we're going to do many things. I can do a lot of things at one time.
Yeah, walk and chew gum, right? Joe can't. Kamala probably can't. But is that incoherent? On day one, I'm going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to close the border. Doesn't sound incoherent to me.
But the question's often is, what's the first thing you're going to do? I would say we have a tie. We're going to close the border. We're going to stop the millions of people coming in, and we're going to take all of the criminals that have come in, and we know every one of them. I know. And the local police know better than anybody else. They're going to work with us. I've spoken to a lot of the sheriffs, every police, virtually every law enforcement group in America has endorsed Trump. I don't think anybody's endorsed Kamala. Not one.
No. Has any police unions endorsed Kamala Harris? You don't even waste your time fact-checking. Don't. That's the answer. Higgins on the road wants to talk about Kamala Harris. What's up, Higgins? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm hanging in there like him walls, stolen valor.
What do you think about Kamala Harris, brother?
Well, man, I just have a feeling that the only reason why she's not doing interviews and all that jazz is because she is in a room with a trainer, and she is going to train for like 1 or 2 interviews, and then they're going to put them on repeat when they try to nitpick all the best moments, because she can't do it consistently. So she's got to, it's almost like back in the day when you got that single and you put it on repeat because you like the song. That's exactly what the media is going to do.
Yep. It wouldn't.
And I do believe Trump's going to smash it in the debate. I just do. But, I will say this, that he's got to stay away from making fun of her. He's just got to get to the point, because everybody knows all that already. He just needs to stick with what he's going to do, and I'm telling you, it would be a landslide. And I'll let y'all have it, man. Have a good one.
Hey, I appreciate the call. And I will disagree with Higgins a little bit. I like the making fun of. I like the mocking. In fact, I think that's one of the most effective strategies against the leftists. They hate it. They hate it. So continue to do it. I would keep doing it. You know that they mock us. Kamala Harris actually did sit down for an interview. It was with Tim Waltz. It was with Tim Waltz, and they spent some time mocking white people
Like I have white guy tacos and
What does
like
that
black,
mean? Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's
and,
okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
no.
Oh.
No, it's white guy tacos. You know, white guys don't use spices. Could you imagine if we did this with any other race? You ever want to play the Am I Racist game? Just swap it out for any other race.
Oh, man.
White guy tacos.
It's just stupid.
And then Kamala says...
That's all you can say about it.
Kamala says, what do you mean, like tuna and mayonnaise? Like, no, that's not what we mean at all. Also, it's important to point out that in 2016, he was a congressman, Tim Waltz was, and he got first place at then Senator Al Franken's 6th annual Hot Dish Off, and the recipe was for a turkey taco tot hot dish, which contained green chilies, taco sauce, and chili powder. So, like, he does use spices. He's
it almost sounds like he's reading off a stereotypical meme page to...
And this has been the meme forever.
Just jump on it.
Do you remember where this meme started? I happen to know, as a humble meme farmer, I find the origins of memes. There was this woman that was doing cooking on her TikTok, and a lot of viewers said, you're not using any spices, because she was using fresh herbs like basil and rosemary. That's where the meme comes from, that white people don't use spices, because this lady wasn't using powdered spice. And they're leaning into a meme and disparaging an entire race.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm trying to expand my food knowledge.
You know, we've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like,
good grief.
And they go on the offensive, and they call Donald Trump racist. What is this supposed to be? What is this? So there's going to be a Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Waltz interview on YouTube that is currently being heavily edited and pre-produced. What a joke. What an absolute joke. So, yeah. I don't even. I don't know how to recover from that.
And I mean that is insulting to. That's insulting to other races. Him talking like that, like they are going to think that's cool for some reason.
Well, and are we just going to ignore Italian cuisine and French cuisine? And I mean, listen, I'm not going to tell people that the British have good cuisine, but.
All good restaurants in England are from other countries, so
I'm not going to sit here and just lie. But
there's a reason we threw their tea in the water.
Yeah, beans on toast. I'm not with it, but I mean, come on. But Trump is off message. Trump says mean things.
Yeah,
I will say I love this. On the same topic of the food with the British, I love their reactions to seeing them eat like American breakfast foods. Like I watched them eat biscuits and gravy one time, and they're like, "This looks awful," and then they eat it like, "This is amazing."
Biscuits and gravy. That's my boy Brooks' favorite meal.
It's so good, man.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It is. But Trump is off message as he answers all these questions from the press.
Yeah.
As he talks to the people, meets them where they're at. He's going on live streams. He's doing Twitter Spaces with Elon. They're upset. 77% of that audience on the Twitter Space with Elon was under 34. Meanwhile, Harris, she's a woman of the people, right? That's what we're supposed to believe. And they disparage an entire race. And then during that interview with Tim Waltz, she was wearing an $18,000 necklace.
Tell me about your dad.
I was 19. My little brother, I think, was eight or nine when he passed. After he died, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She became our rock, and now she had to go out and get work because the medical bills broke her. And Social Security and Social Security survivor benefits. We're fine pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We had no boots. That's the boots. So programs that are just fundamental to keeping people from dropping into poverty, but to live with dignity. You keep talking about that.
they highlight this. They try to make him an everyday guy, but they ignore the fact that they're importing millions upon millions of people who are taking these benefits and bankrupting these programs. Then they go on and they lie and gaslight to the American people that Trump is going to cut Social Security and Medicaid when Trump is out there saying, no, I'm not going to tax your Social Security tips. Your Social Security checks. I'm not going to tax your tips. It's crazy. But she's a woman of the people wearing an $18,000 necklace during that interview. So she sits down with Tim Waltz, not the press. They talk about equity programs. They talk about their common roots. And she's in an $18,000 necklace. But Trump is off message. Trump doesn't understand the average worker, the average person. Okay. I don't think they understand what the majority of Americans are thinking. I mean, the majority of Americans today currently don't believe that Joe Biden is mentally fit to serve out the rest of his term. And if you heard Joe Biden while he was campaigning for Kamala Harris, you can understand why they think that. He's out there, and I felt bad for Joe. I really did. He's out there saying just the craziest stuff.
I have an incredible partner. The progress we've made, she's going to make one hell of a president.
See what I mean? Like, seriously, he's lost a step. She's going to make a great...
Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce her, Shanga Kawawa.
Yeah.
I hear no difference.
No, there's no difference. But here's the thing. He said that Republicans will want to get rid of the Inflation Reduction Act, and he tries to explain why that's a bad idea.
The reason I say it is not to make a political point about them if they've gotten their lesson, but guess what? They want to. The guy we're running against, what's his name? Donald Dump or Donald whatever. They want to get rid of this, what we passed. They're fighting to get rid of what we've just passed. No, I'm serious. No help from Republicans passed the Inflation Reduction Act thanks to the tie-breaking vote of Kamala made it possible.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
No. But I think it's been pretty much, without a doubt, proven that the Inflation Reduction Act actually caused inflation.
Oh, absolutely.
You printed money from thin air, more money than we had, and you caused more inflation. But that's Joe Biden for you.
Yeah, I thought the goal was to reduce our debt.
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
It's just still going up. And our interest payments outpace our defense spending. So that's a recipe for winning. Joe Biden also brought up Project 2025 at the rally yesterday with Kamala Harris. And mind you, this is a month after an assassination attempt and weeks after Joe Biden and the Democrats said we need to cool down the rhetoric.
Let me tell you what our Project 2025 is. Beat the hell out of them. I mean it.
And they say that we're the ones who incite violence.
Honestly. It's always projection and gaslighting from the left. Our Project 2025 is we're gonna beat the hell out of them. Okay. Harris had some good zingers at this rally too. This is Donald Trump is unhinged, incoherent, and off message. This is Kamala Harris.
We believe deeply every senior in our nation should be able to live with security, stability, and dignity. And so in the United States of America, no senior should have to choose between either filling their prescription or paying their rent.
But who was in power when rent prices went through the roof? Honestly. Oh, it was Kamala Harris. Don't worry. Day one, she's going to fix it. Day one, she's going to fix it. Harris also said that she was proud to be the tie-breaking vote in the Inflation Reduction Act.
2 years ago, as vice president, I was proud to cast the tie-breaking vote that sent the bill that gave Medicare the power to negotiate and let it get to the president's desk. And I was proud when our president, Joe Biden, signed that bill into law.
Yeah, she was proud. Moments after she says seniors shouldn't have to decide between rent and medication, She says, I was proud to sign that vote, to cast that vote so Joe Biden could sign the Inflation Reduction Act into law, effectively making seniors have to choose between medication and rent. And she doesn't provide any real solutions. Donald Trump says he wants to slash your energy prices. He says that he wants to take taxes off Social Security checks. He actually has real ideas for real relief. We don't get any of that from Kamala Harris. None of it. On the way, I do want to talk about an investigation that House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has launched into Tim Waltz. We'll talk about that next. But first, I got to tell you about my friends at the Glock store. The best place to buy a Glock is the Glock store. Every Glock is in stock. The best place to learn? Absolutely, Glock store. Every session is a private lesson. It's also the best place to shoot because you have private rooms, not public lanes. And if you like competing, well, you can do that there too. The USPSA and low light, no light open competitions are happening every single month. But there's a new thing that they do at the Glock store. How about this one? It's now the best place to party. I know. Listen, if you're looking for a spot for your birthday, a retirement, corporate team building, do it at the Glock store. These parties include a VIP room with full kitchen, dedicated shooting rooms with instructors, shooting activities for every single level, and they include all the ammo. And they'll even provide full auto options. It's super cool. And to get your party started, all you have to do is email them, party@glockstore.com. That's party@glockstore.com. Just include the day, the time, how many people you're bringing, and they'll get right back to you with a party plan tailored to your exact needs. It's the Glock store. My place to shoot, everyone's place to party, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
Won't you take me back to Tennessee?
I'm going to give it away. We're going to do TikTok today.
Oh, TikTok or talk?
Talk.
Okay.
TALK.
Spring is here. Today we're going to talk about ticks. Bugs are coming out. Unfortunately, ticks are coming out. People are going to be out in the woods. First, the types of ticks.
American dog tick, the black-legged deer tick, the Lone Star tick. We've got a Gulf Coast tick. Got a new one coming in, the Longhorn tick. These are the ones we need to watch out for. 75% of vector transmitted diseases now are from ticks. Rocky Mountain spotted fever, rickelosis, tularemia, Lyme disease, almost flu-like, gonna run a fever. You may or may not get a rash in the saliva. They secrete the cement to glue themselves in.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great.
So you need to get some tweezers, get down on that capitulum and grab it and pull the tick off. Do not grab the body. A lot of people think ticks drop out of trees. They don't drop out of trees. And they can't jump. And they can't fly.
So they're in the leaves, on the plants and things.
On the grass. On the leaves of the grass. And they do this number with their front legs. And that's called questing. They are sensing a prey item coming by. They'll take those legs and latch on and then crawl up.
And then there you go. You're battling it.
The Secret Service okays new outdoor security. The family of the firefighter killed during the attempt on former President Trump's life is speaking out for the first time. Free rent and free parking, landlords throwing in sweeteners. We'll tell you about it at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 10:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Listen, if Tim Waltz is willing to lie about how he spices his tacos, well, then he's willing to lie about anything, like, I don't know, his military service or his ties to China, right? You would think so.
I'm pretty friendly with China.
Yeah, we get it. The House Oversight Committee has announced an investigation into vice presidential candidate Tim Waltz over his ties to China and long-standing connections to the Chinese Communist Party entities and officials.
I'm pretty friendly with China.
The committee chairman, James Comer, posted on X that he's launched an investigation into Tim Waltz, Kamala Harris's recently announced VP pick, following reports detailing the governor's longstanding connections to the CCP and officials. Mr. Waltz has visited China 30 times, served as a fellow at the Chinese institution that maintains a devotion to the CCP, and spoke alongside the president of a Chinese organization in the State Department exposed as a CCP effort to influence and co-opt local leaders, the committee added in the post. FBI briefers recently informed the committee that the Bureau's Foreign Influence Task Force investigates CCP activity that is similar to China's engagement with Governor Waltz. In a letter to FBI Director Christopher Wray, Chairman Comer is now requesting information, documents, and communications related to the CCP-connected entities and officials Governor Waltz has engaged and partnered with. Listen, again, if he's willing to lie about how he spices his tacos, if he's willing to lie about his military service, yeah, he'd be willing to lie about his ties to the CCP. We'll keep you posted on where this investigation goes with the House Oversight Committee and Governor Waltz's ties to the CCP. As we've detailed on the show, they're pretty extensive, and I wonder what they're going to be able to dig out. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot this Friday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We're going to give you the details on the potential for severe weather today during the full forecast in 2 minutes. Well, the U.S. Secret Service approving new outdoor security plans for former President Trump rallies. It includes Trump being surrounded by bulletproof glass and more agents moving forward. Meanwhile, we're hearing from the family of the firefighter killed during the attempt on Trump's life last month. This is Corey Competor's daughter, Allison, describing her father's final moments to ABC Pittsburgh affiliate WTAE.
I had turned around, I was like confused, and I went, "Dad." And when I turned is whenever he fell down, and that's when I started screaming, and I was instantly, I was trying to keep him from bleeding.
The family says it's hired attorneys to get answers as to why security lapsed. We have the CDC reaction to the first case of this new strain of monkeypox found outside of Africa, a case confirmed in Sweden. Here's Eva Pilgrim.
The CDC saying the risk to the general public is low, but an official telling ABC News they are reevaluating that risk assessment. It's unclear if that will lead to any changes. For now, the health agency warning doctors to be on the lookout for patients with symptoms, especially if they've traveled to those areas seeing these outbreaks recently. If you're concerned that you could be at risk, there is a highly effective vaccine for Mpox. Talk to your doctor about what is best for you.
The global outbreak has affected primarily gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men and has spread person to person through sexual networks. Free rent and free parking, landlords throwing in sweeteners, renters gaining the upper hand in the balance of power with landlords. The share of rental listings on Zillow offering a concession has an incentive to rent climbed to 33.2% in July. And Nashville is one of 6 major metro areas where more than half of the rental listings on Zillow are offering deals. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.11:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I want to take a couple calls on this. I think that this is an interesting conversation to have. Would you give up your biometric data for a job? Would you give up your biometric data for a job? I think it's important to say, well, what is biometric data?
Yeah, what all does that include?
All right, well, there's three categories. Physical, which is your fingerprints, palm prints, facial features, ear shape, and friction ridges on fingers. There's physiological, your iris, your retinal, and your voice print measurements. And then there's behavioral. It's your typing patterns, mouse and finger movements, your walking gait, and your social media engagement patterns.
That sounds like an AI setup.
If an employer asked you for your biometric data, would you hand it over to them? I think that this is an interesting conversation to have because the Las Vegas Police Union is actually warning the Las Vegas Raiders and the NFL that they're not submitting that. Because recently the NFL has mandated that all game day staffers, including contractors and non-employees, supply biometric data, including an image of their face via an improved app before being allowed clearance to enter the stadium.
For what, though?
They say it's for safety, as they always do.
So you could tack safety onto any requirement.
I just...
Doesn't mean it's right, though.
All of this scares me. We just had a hack the other day where every social security number in the country has been stolen. Who is taking this info, and do you trust them? The Las Vegas Police Union is warning the Vegas Raiders and the NFL that if these new requirements for officers to supply the league with biometric data are implemented, they will cease providing security detail for games. So they're saying, if you're going to make us do that, we're not going to be your security. Which I say good. I wonder if you would be willing to say, no, I'm not working for you over biometric data. I feel like I would tell them no. I also feel like I'm a little bit screwed because my voice is all over the air and you got video of me all over the place. So you probably have a lot of it anyway.
Yeah, you can grab from like public access, but it's not a forceful.
They're
offering to. They're not forcing you to give you that stuff to be able to keep your job.
Exactly. But the NFL has recently mandated that all game day staffers, including contractors and non-employees, supply biometric data, including an image of their face via an approved app for being allowed clearance to enter the stadium. To even enter. However, the police union representing the Las Vegas police officers, which is like kudos to these guys, because I don't know if we would have heard this story as big if it wasn't for the Las Vegas police union, because apparently it's happening at all NFL stadiums. They're warning officials that its members will not comply with the new security requirements. And if they're forced to do so, they won't work Raiders home games at Allegiant Stadium. At issue is the league's close relationship with numerous anti-police organizations. Members of the police are afraid that if they have given over this data, it's going to end up in the hands of woke left-wing organizations, which will then turn around and use the data as a weapon against police officers. I think every American should be nervous about that data ending up in the wrong hands. As we just mentioned, our Social Security numbers are now in the wrong hands. Las Vegas Police Protective Association President Steve Gramis recently sent out a video to members stating that he is not on board with handing his data over to the NFL to end up in the hands of people that you don't know. He said, if you're like me, you don't want to have biometric data in the hands of people that you don't know. And he said this in a video that was posted by TMZ. And in the interview with the Las Vegas Review-Journal, he added that he does not want officer data to end up in the hands of anti-cop people who could target and harass officers that just want to do their job. And he suggested that police officers be excluded from the NFL's new security protocols and be issued identifying wristbands instead. But I wonder, is that worth it to you if you're working the concession stand? Is that worth it to you if you're checking people in with tickets? I don't think it'd be worth it to me. Is this like the dystopian future that we're heading to no matter what? It's crazy. He posted this video, TMZ got it, and he's railing against this stuff.
Steve Gramis, president of the PPA, wanted to get a very quick message out to you guys as the NFL preseason is going to be starting here in Vegas, I think in about 2 weeks. We've had a big concern with something the NFL's been trying to push out. The NFL's been pushing something out that's not only going to be like it used to be in the past where you'd have a wristband to get you into certain areas to work at Raider Stadium for the football games. They've gone a step far further. One of the things they wanted to do is have you sign off on an agreement that you would absolve them of all liability should anything happen to you in the course and scope of a game. Luckily, through a lot of work with Brian Yant and his due diligence on this process, the NFL has removed that. But there is one aspect that I don't think the department is going to change course on, which we have a huge problem with and we want you all to be aware of. They're going to send you something that looks like an app that you're going to log into, and it's going to require you to put in certain information. One of them is going to be a picture of yourself, okay? They're going to use that, and they outline it in that app, that they are going to take your biometric data, your face, and they're going to use that however they need to. And they're going to extend that to their NFL family partners to use your information should they need to, or vendors. And we don't know what that list of people looks like. I know there was an initial list put out about the teams and their LLCs that they're a part of, but that branches into a lot of places that your biometric data could be exposed to a lot of people that you may not want it to be. And
I think he's absolutely right. We're just catching wind of this story. Apparently this has been going on for a while behind the scenes, and he wants police officers excluded, but so far the NFL does not seem disposed to alter its plan. They're pushing back, saying the credentialing system will enhance security at our stadiums. How does it enhance security if it's targeting the police officers? It doesn't make much sense to me. They say the credentialing system will enhance security, and we look forward to working with all stakeholders to address any questions or concerns raised. Graham has concluded by saying that if the full policy is implemented, his officers will no longer work at Allegiant Stadium for Raiders games. The NFL has worked with numerous organizations critical of the police, including those championed by former NFL quarterback turned social justice warrior Colin Kaepernick. You know about the NFL. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to anti-cop organizations, including the Vera Institute of Justice, the Oregon Justice Resource Center, and the Community Justice Exchange, all of which support defunding the police. The NFL even allowed 1990. They even allowed Dr. Dre. The Breitbart article says 1990s rapper, but they let Dr. Dre have anti-cop lyrics in his halftime show at the Super Bowl in 2022. So they're nervous that this is going to be used to target police officers. But I just wonder, how do Americans feel about moving into the future and your employer, no matter what you do, wanting your biometric data? I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It feels eerily similar to vaccine mandates to be able to work and vaccine passports. And I think that you lay the groundwork for that social credit system once you start supplying your biometric data into everything. That should be yours and yours alone. It's a scary dystopian world.
We at the PPA have fought back and said we don't agree to the release of biometric data of our officers. Go back to a simple wristband. It gets them into the areas they're supposed to work, and that's it. But I fear that the department is going to acquiesce to the NFL and push to have you all sign up for this stuff. And let me read to you exactly what this is going to say. To participate in the NFL credential card program, you are consenting to the collection, use, retention, and disclosure of biometric data by and among members of the NFL family and their credentialing vendors, including Accredit Solutions, Inc. and Wicket LLC. And we don't know who all those people are, but I'm sure if you're like me, you don't want to have biometric data in the hands of people that you don't know.
No, I don't want that one bit. I don't want that one bit. Frank in Gallatin, what are your thoughts on handing over biometric data to an employer?
I lived in Reno, Nevada back in the late 90s for several years. And if you work in any industry in Nevada that you handle money, you have to give up your fingerprints to the police department. You go to the police department and they do a background check on you to make sure you're good to go.
But is the police department different than handing it over to your employer, who then can hand it over to anyone they decide?
Well, I agree that, it's the same way with Facebook, getting your information and selling it to everybody else so they can make some money. I don't agree with it. I mean, I agree with you going and having to go to the police department and doing a background check. Same way with the military. You have to give up all your fingerprints. When I got my assault rifle, so-called, it's a AR-15 with a 10-inch barrel. It took me a year to get it, and I had to give up my fingerprint.
And that was in Nevada?
ATF.
Got you. I mean, I think that's a little bit different, because what the NFL is saying here is that not only are they going to be able to gather this data, whether you're an employee or a contractor, or even if you're not an employee, but then they can use it and sell it to their partners.
No, that's wrong. All they need to do is have the police department do background checks on these people, and they give them the same card as everybody else that works in the casino industry.
Well, and this is why the police union's pushing back, because they're trying to do this for the police officers. They're trying to.
They don't need.
I'm with you, Frank, and I appreciate the call. Mike in Gallatin, your thoughts on this?
Well, it sounds to me like they're trying to put the mark of the beast on everybody, and that, to me, that's definitely wrong.
It does feel that way, and it feels like this is a slow walk towards a social credit system in America. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what they want. That's what the globalists want, is a social credit system implemented here in the States.
Exactly right. I know that they in the past, doctors have talked to me about putting a chip for my medical history, and I refused then, and I will keep refusing.
Yeah, no, you have to. Don't do that. Here's the thing. If we give up this fight now, today, our kids will never have a chance against this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Like, we're
my Bible teaches me a whole different story.
Amen. Me too. And I think that these are like the battles that we really need to fight, whether it's digital currency, social credit systems, all that kind of stuff, because once we bend the knee, there's never going any back. There's no going back.
Exactly.
Yep. Hey,
appreciate you, brother.
Hey, appreciate the call, Mike. Yeah, so the Las Vegas Police Union, they don't like this one bit. I don't blame them. And in a similar story, on the same sports line, did you hear what ESPN did? They've had some budget cuts, they said. It's budget cuts. Except they fired the only female commentator critical of men in women's sports. Convenient, right? It was ESPN's Sunday NFL Countdown host, Sam Ponder. She's the only female announcer who has been outspoken against the inclusion of biological males in women's sports.
Weird.
And she's been fired from the network for budgetary reasons. Robert Griffin III was also fired, and he's been pretty political on social media. A source briefed on the matter told The Athletic that the decisions were made for financial reasons, with ESPN's fiscal year concluding at the end of September. But they say Ponder and Griffin both made over seven figures, and they were informed of the decision yesterday morning. But these are people that are outspoken in politics. So Riley Gaines commented on this one, said, so ESPN fires Sam Ponder, the only woman who at the network was publicly stating that men don't belong in women's sports, 3 weeks before football season. And she has a similar fate to Sage Steele, who also was speaking out against stuff like that. Ponder supported the women who competed on the same team as University of Pennsylvania swimmer Leah Thomas, who was a man swimming against women. And she wrote in response to one teammate's testimony before Congress, Paula, you are so brave and your voice is so important. She posted that at the end of July of 2023. So she's probably had a target on her back for a while. Speaking out against the inclusion of biological males in women's sports, Ponder wrote, this would take away so many opportunities for biological women and girls in sports. It's a shame that we are needing to fight for the integrity of Title IX in 2023 and the reason it was needed in the first place. So she pushed back against it, and shocker, she is no longer employed by ESPN. ESPN that's also owned by Disney. And Disney also owns ABC. Have you noticed a current thread?
What a coinkadink.
It's always so weird. Disney's found themselves in some hot water. James O'Keefe has a shocking story about Disney, and we'll tell it to you on the way. It's wild. It's about employees and their kids. I bet you can guess where it's going. We'll tell you about it next. Hang out with us. But first, I got to tell you about my friends at United Structural Systems. They don't ask for your biometric data. They just ask to fix your problems. The guys at USS are great. They've been doing this work in Middle Tennessee since 1994, and they're not going anywhere. I've had the opportunity to sit down and meet with the guys that work at USS, honest, hardworking guys, and they're proud of the work they do. And they have 25,000 satisfied customers to back them up that are also proud of the work they do. What do they do? Well, they can really focus on waterproofing issues at your home or foundation repair. If you have any of those issues popping up, it's something that you want to fix right away because they're not going to go away. So if you notice any cracks in your brick or any dirt receding from your home, that could be a huge issue. It could be nothing. But the one thing is for sure, you should call USS to take a look. They'll come to your home. They'll see what the problem is and come up with a custom solution for you. They won't leave until the job is done and you are satisfied. And when they do leave, they leave behind a warranty that is good for life and stays with the home even if you move. That's United Structural Systems, 615-488-7855. Call USS today, 615-488-7855, online at USSTN.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Got a disabled vehicle blocking part of the way on Briley Parkway southbound. This is going to be a county hospital road here in Davidson County. And Republicans in Congress raising questions about Democratic Vice President nominee Tim Walz's ties to China. And this morning, the House Oversight Committee has launched an investigation. We got details on that and a murder here in Nashville at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, the Tim Waltz China stuff is wild. The biometric stuff is wild. I'm getting through these texts. It's China. There's a lot of people saying that they've given up this stuff for their work already. One guy was like, Uber, I drive for Uber. I have to take a picture of my face to log in all the time. I had another friend text in saying he works at Nissan Stadium. They sent all that stuff out for the bartenders. He said thought it was just a picture for an ID. You got to read the fine print, man. It's always the devil's in the details. Another guy said the Chinese have a database on all their citizens for their gait. That's how you walk. That's unique to you. 2 different sizes of shoes will get you around that. Just throw off your own gait.
I'll definitely be stumbling a little differently for sure.
Hey, when the revolution happens, you wear 2 different size shoes. Sherman in Lawrenceburg wants to talk about biometric. Sherman, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
Hey, would this be the result of the 10+ million people that have come across the border, plus the 99 known people with terrorist ties?
Who knows, man? But I don't understand why they would do it for police officers, and it just blows my mind that this wasn't a larger story as it was happening. The mainstream media didn't want to touch this at all.
Well, yeah, but I would figure that an NFL stadium's probably a prime target.
Yeah, but why would you want to do that to the police officers?
Because they don't trust, the NFL doesn't trust the police.
Well, I think that's it. That's it right there. That's it right there, Sherman. You're probably right. This is the NFL is it's scary where we're headed. I don't know if I'd be willing to turn over biometric data, but hey, to each their own. I had another story that I wanted to get to. James O'Keefe has another shocking expose on the Walt Disney Company. The latest investigation by James O'Keefe Media Group has uncovered that Walt Disney Company is funding puberty blockers for children through its employee health care plans. Internal documents obtained by OMG from a Disney insider reveal that the company offers health care plans that include sex change treatments for their employees' children, labeling them as gender-affirming and non-binary care for children and adolescents. These treatments, available through Cigna Healthcare, include counseling, prescriptions, referrals, and puberty blockers for minors who identify as transgender. Now, would you consider this a Disney thing or is this a Cigna thing? Through Cigna Healthcare, Disney employees have access to these treatments, including counseling, prescriptions, referrals, and puberty blockers for minors. This process starts with referrals from healthcare providers and is fully covered under Disney's medical plan with Cigna. James O'Keefe explained.
Just in, the Walt Disney Company is paying for puberty blockers for children. Take a look at this damning document that was provided to us from an insider at Disney today. As you can see on your screen, if you work at Disney, the company allows you to receive puberty blockers for your child, an irreversible sterilization drug that changes the life of your child forever. Internally, Disney pays a medical plan through Cigna Healthcare. Through Cigna, Disney employees have access to counseling, prescription coverages, provider referrals, and yes, puberty blockers for minors. It all starts with referrals. Employees and their dependents can be referred by their healthcare providers for these treatments, which are then covered under Disney's medical plan with Cigna. Let me repeat this again. This internal document that we received from a whistleblower working at the Walt Disney Company reveals that the Walt Disney Company is paying for puberty blockers that sterilize children and completely change the course of their body forever.
Explosive reporting from James O'Keefe. We'll talk about it more after the break. Here's Ken Weaver with the latest headlines on Super Talk.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. And Republicans have been raising questions about Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz's ties to China. This morning, the House Oversight Committee launched an investigation. Committee Chair James Comer's requested FBI to provide access to all documents and communications related to the Chinese Communist Party's officials whom Waltz has engaged with over the years. Bulletproof glass will surround former President Donald Trump at his campaign rallies moving forward as the Secret Service aims to increase security on the campaign trail following the attempt on the former president's life last month. And here in Nashville, a murder warrant is out for a man police say killed a man just outside a building in the Edge Hill community on Defford Bailey Avenue this morning. Homicide detectives say surveillance video shows 34-year-old Ronald Russell shooting the victim, James Cox, multiple times, including after Cox was down on the ground. Russell is undergoing a psychological evaluation after it was learned he may have believed the victim cut off his sister's leg. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
$11:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're talking about this report from James O'Keefe and O'Keefe Media Group. Disney funds puberty blockers and sex changes for employees' children. It's nice. It's good. It's good, right? Progress. I got a couple texts here from people that work in the health industry. Cigna negotiates with the companies to provide what they want in their coverage. It isn't a one-size-fits-all. So that would mean, if you're following that logic, that Disney asked for this. James O'Keefe of O'Keefe Media Group exposing this, and it's pretty explosive because last time I checked, Disney was a children's company, right?
Just in, the Walt Disney Company is paying for puberty blockers for children. Take a look at this damning document that was provided to us from an insider at Disney today. As you can see on your screen, if you work at Disney, the company allows you to receive puberty blockers for your child, an irreversible sterilization drug that changes the life of your child forever. Internally, Disney pays a medical plan through Cigna Healthcare. Through Cigna, Disney employees have access to counseling, prescription coverages, provider referrals, and yes, puberty blockers for minors. It all starts with referrals. Employees and their dependents can be referred by their healthcare providers for these treatments, which are then covered under Disney's medical plan with Cigna. Let me repeat this again. This internal document that we received from a whistleblower working at the Walt Disney Company reveals that the Walt Disney Company is paying for puberty blockers that sterilize children and completely change the course of their body forever.
I think it's important to point out, and I've been down rabbit holes on this, if you give children puberty blockers, they'll never be able to successfully have the gender reassignment surgery that they clamor to want, because you need to develop in order to have those surgeries. So even if they want to scream about progress, this doesn't make any sense, even if you're for this kind of stuff, which I am absolutely not. There's also research that shows a majority of children that feel this way grow out of it. And they never treat the underlying causes, the anxiety and the depression. It just gets worse. But to see Disney funding this, are you surprised by that? I'm not surprised by it. I'm honestly just disgusted that this is still going on. I wonder what Ron DeSantis in Florida thinks about this.
This is a new but heartbreaking development in our Disney series. As a response to these tapes that have been coming out, we released the GET video showing what they were doing, putting pressure on their colleagues to make those transitions. But this is a developing story. We're going to be reaching out to Disney for comment again. We talked to multiple vice presidents. They kind of stonewalled us. If you're on the inside of Disney, we urge you to come forward and contact us at Signal 914-315-9415. DM us on social media, and someone from OMG will reach out to you. Thank you so much to those of you inside Disney that have a conscience. Follow your conscience. The public has a right to know.
Follow your conscience. So the Walt Disney Company is paying for puberty blockers that sterilize children and completely change the course of their body forever. This is again, it's part of a much larger series of exposés by OMG that they're calling the Disney Files. They're investigating Disney's internal policies and communications, its promotion of DEI initiatives, radical gender theory for children. Last month, there was a whistleblower from Disney that got James O'Keefe these internal documents proving that the company has a long history of pushing an LGBTQ agenda onto children, which is just too much. And these documents allegedly revealed Disney's promotion of LGBTQ children's events, which included controversial activities such as naked men, maps of Disney-sponsored pride events nationwide, Disney's covert partnership with Zebra Youth, which is a program supporting LGBTQ youths starting at age 13, and messages about polysexual virtual hangouts. This is Disney. This is a children's company. OMG also revealed that Disney's marketing creative director is a drag queen named Amit Gurney, who goes by the name Genie, and that he has created LGBTQ programming aimed at young children. It's one thing after another with Disney. I'm not even shocked. I'm not even surprised, even a little bit. But this is the dystopian future that we live in, right? And this is what Kamala Harris and Tim Waltz support. Tim Waltz signed a bill that put tampons into the boys' room. Tim Waltz did that. This is the future that they want. They want your kids to be able to get on puberty blockers and to sterilize themselves, and they don't even think that you need to be involved in the conversation. It's wild. They've even invited a groomer to the DNC by the name of Jeffrey Marsh. You may have seen some of his videos online where he's talking to kids about avoiding conversations with your parents and cutting them out if they don't accept them for who they are. It's so communist in nature, eliminating their parents from the discussion. But that's the Democrat National Convention. That's the Democrat Party. And as we head towards the DNC, again, they're inviting Jeffrey Marsh, a groomer, and they're also bracing for massive protests at the DNC. Massive protests. Pro-Palestine agitators are expected to be descending onto Chicago during the DNC. Savannah Hernandez is actually going to be on the ground there covering these protests. And there's been a lot of talk online that Chicago police are going to get a bit of the blue flu as these protesters invade town. And I'm I'm nervous for Sav as these Antifa radicals and pro-Palestinian groups descend upon the city because, she's 5'0" and they all know her, the Antifa types do. But they're bracing for tens of thousands of protesters at the DNC. They're going to be bussed into the city to demonstrate their displeasure about how Kamala has been handling the Israel-Hamas war in the Middle East. They've been calling her Kabama. Have you noticed that? Kabama. According to the Daily Mail, Hatim Abdouya, the national chair of the U.S. Palestinian Community Network Advocacy Group, told reporters that protesters would be arriving by bus from nearby states and cities. Members of the network had a virtual meeting after Biden dropped out of the race, determined that nothing would change going into the week of the DNC. We're not going to do anything different. We're going to mobilize. Harris represents the administration. She represents Biden. There is nothing that she has expressed independently that tells us she does not support the policies. No, she's not going to stray from Biden policies. I think this is going to be really hard for her to win Michigan and to win over the American Muslim vote because of this, and to win over these radical leftists because of this. She chose her running mate, Tim Waltz, because of his ties or lack thereof to the Jewish community. And she didn't choose Josh Shapiro because of his ties, because he's too Jewish. So they've made choices to try and satiate this pro-Palestinian crowd, the pro-Hamas protesters in the radical left, but it doesn't seem like it's working. Again, the spokesperson said, we're not going to do anything different. We're going to mobilize. Harris represents the administration. She represents Biden. There is nothing that she has expressed independently that tells us she does not support the policies. The march on the DNC 2024 website states that there's a coalition of pro-Palestinian groups that will be marching on the event, including Black Lives Matter Chicago, Arab American Action Network, the Palestine Feminist Collective, Chicago Students for Justice in Palestine, and several others. The coalition's main demand is to stand with Palestine and end U.S. aid to Israel. Harris is set to formally accept the nomination come Thursday, August 22nd. DNC next week is going to be wild. Kicks off Monday. Biden is going to speak opening night, followed by Barack Obama, and then Bill Clinton is going to be there, which, again, I don't understand why they would drag Bill Clinton out, especially with all the ties to Epstein and the Lolita Express and Pedo Island, but, Yeah,
keep him buried in that pile of gross news that we don't want to talk about. It needs to be talked about, but I don't want him anywhere near.
He's going to be front and center.
Wild.
It's insane.
Wild.
But this is the Democrat Party, right? They're inviting a groomer like Jeffrey Marsh. They're inviting an alleged pedophile like Bill Clinton, a known sexual assaulter, right? And there's been rumblings about protests set to descend on the DNC since Biden was still in the race. And they're saying tens of thousands are going to be here. And since Harris took the nomination, the talks kind of died down a little bit. And her VP pick of Tim Waltz, it has gotten the thumbs up from some of the radical progressives of the Democrat Party, including Ilhan Omar, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but they're still upset.
Isn't it crazy that they'll let them inside and they'll let Clinton inside, but they won't, like an alleged pedophile, but they won't let Savannah Hernandez inside, who will tell the truth.
They won't give press passes to a lot of my friends that are going there.
It's ridiculous.
Meanwhile, the RNC had tons of people inside that were opposition media.
Yeah, they're pretty pick and choose with their acceptance of everybody.
We accept everybody. We tolerate everything except for ideas.
With a huge asterisk next to it.
Huge asterisk. Harris has called for ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. However, the protesters have not ceased altogether over the topic and her connection to the U.S. policies with Israel. During a fundraiser in San Francisco earlier in August, a rally of pro-Palestinian protesters with some shouting, "Killer Kamala," and other similar protests have occurred. It was this week, at Wednesday, a bunch of agitators went after her in New York and let off smoke bombs. No votes for Bombala's genocide. Bombala, Kabama. They're calling her all these things. So protests next week at the DNC as we head into the weekend. So we got some things to look forward to. If you thought the news cycle was going to calm down, you are sadly mistaken. It is going to get wilder and wilder, and we're going to be here for it all. We're going to check in with Matt Murphy next, see what he's got coming up on Murphy's Show. I see our friend KGB is in the building. He's going to be producing once again. Looking forward to that. It's 11:48 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Won't you take me back to Tennessee?
I'm going to give it away. We're going to do TikTok today.
Oh, TikTok or talk? Okay.
TALK.
Spring is here. Today we're going to talk about ticks. Bugs are coming out. Unfortunately, ticks are coming out. People are going to be out in the woods. First, the types of ticks.
American dog tick, the black-legged deer tick, the Lone Star tick. We've got a Gulf Coast tick. Got a new one coming in, the longhorn tick. These are the ones we need to watch out for. 75% of vector-transmitted diseases now are from ticks. Rocky Mountain spotted fever, rickelosis, tularemia, Lyme disease, almost flu-like. You're going to run a fever. You may or may not get a rash in the saliva. They secrete the cement to glue themselves in.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great.
So you need to get some tweezers, get down on that capitulum and grab it and pull the tick off. Do not grab the body. A lot of people think ticks drop out of trees. They don't drop out of trees. And they can't jump. And they can't fly.
So they're in the leaves, on the plants and things.
On the grass.
On the
leaves of the grass. And they do this number with their front legs. And that's called questing. They are sensing a prey item coming by. They'll take those legs and latch on and then crawl up.
And then there you go. You're battling it.
11:55 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Matt Murphy joining me in studio. Did you wear that shirt yesterday?
I did not.
Are you sure?
You would have noticed.
I feel like I am noticing.
You would have noticed because it's pink. I wore a green shirt with white little flowers on it yesterday.
Oh, it was the flower shirt.
Yeah.
Look good.
Did you wear that shirt yesterday?
I did.
Is that from Kirkland's?
I don't know.
Is that Kirkland's?
Maybe.
Is that a Costco brand shirt? I think I have that shirt.
No, I think this
not that exact shirt.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
I don't know what that shirt is. I'm very upset with you.
What did I do?
I'm angry. I'm angry with Hand.
Breaking news.
Murphy and Hand.
Murphy
angry.
is angry.
You allowed Dan Mandis put his grubby little hands on my mic condom this morning. I'm very upset about it.
I didn't allow it. It was it was in the Mandis region.
Allegedly. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. I've got video evidence. I clipped it out.
Did you?
Took that clip out. Oh, I forgot something. I wanted to show you something that I got yesterday.
What'd you get?
Can I go get it?
Yeah.
All right, I got to go get it.
All right, Murphy's running to go get something.
Oh, no, we have to fill air without Murphy. What are we going to do?
for Murphy saying he was angry, that's the least angry I've seen him when he says he's angry.
Yeah, it was pretty straight fired.
It was pretty smooth. Oh, he's got a bag, red bag.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, I got this yesterday. Some of our good friends, I interviewed a guy from who owns a business in Leapers Fork, and he gave us this.
What you got?
Yes.
Oh, that's based.
What is? Are you ready?
Trump hugging the flag?
Yeah, you ready?
We are going to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C.
That's right.
All right.
That's gold.
He says so many things.
Is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Yeah.
There's like 28 different sayings. He gave us this yesterday. It's Trump holding the flag.
I love it.
It's Donald Trump with flag. He's a talking figurine. It's got 17 different things that Donald Trump has said in his own voice. It says it right there. In his own voice.
Very nice.
There you go. So
I
thought you would love that.
I do. That's the Leapers Fork spot that's based, right?
Yeah, the bunker. They're getting a lot of crap from the Leapers Fork people because they're too right wing. I know. It's amazing how, these businesses just want to live and let live and want to do their own business and want to take care of their business, and you do your business, and I'm not bothering your business, but apparently my business is bothering you so much that you have to change the way I do my business.
I thought the guy that they want to be the next VP lives by the golden rule in America. Yeah.
He's so with the young people because he curses.
Okay, so I keep noticing this thing about Tim Waltz. You played video games in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember in PS2 when graphics started getting a little bit better, but they weren't putting teeth in mouths yet? Have you ever noticed? You remember that?
Does he not have any teeth?
No, he has teeth, but his lips overshadow them. So he can open his mouth.
They couldn't figure out teeth.
He can open his mouth very wide, but teeth are not visible. And I can't, it's a small thing. It might just be me, but it's something that I can't unsee.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to unsee it now either.
Watch him when he talks.
Okay. And
his mouth will get very wide.
But no teeth.
But no teeth will be visible.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a reason. I don't know if that's a reason not to vote for the guy. I would say the stolen valor, the tampons in the boys' room.
Put that on the list.
The China connections. I think those are
destruction of lives and businesses during COVID. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, not letting the National Guard come in during BLM. But number 6 has to be
no teeth.
The lack of showing teeth.
White guy tacos. You talk about white guy tacos.
I talked about white guy tacos. I was actually really. Kamala Harris went to mayonnaise and you mean mayonnaise and tuna fish?
And there was somebody on CNN that was excusing that, saying, "Oh, that's an old joke that she told years ago about a tuna melt or something or another."
But Waltz won an award in 2006 for a spicy taco dish at a little hot dish cook-off hosted by Senator Al Franken. If the man is willing to lie about tacos,
he'll lie about anything.
He'll lie about anything.
Well, the Democrats have no souls. I mean, we were talking about this during the break.
Fact check.
We're like, why Bill Clinton? Because they have no souls.
Yeah.
They don't care. They can justify anything. He's their old conquering lion that they're bringing back out on the Democrat National Convention stage, right?
It blows my mind that you would do that.
They're conquering warrior.
They'll bring out Bill Clinton, but we have to get rid of Enrique Santos immediately.
Rules are for thee and not for me, according to the Democrats.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we've been waiting on Kamala Harris policy, and when we got policy, it was basically Venezuelan Maduro policy on the economy.
Yeah, hey, she's going to give $25,000 to new home buyers. Unrelated, housing prices have gone up by average $25,000.
Right. And she's going to reduce the price of eggs by telling egg sellers what they can sell their eggs for.
Oh, yeah.
Which is going to work great.
Yes.
It's worked everywhere it's ever been tried. It's created the type of communism that they want.
But trust me, they just didn't do socialism right the last time. Next time will be better.
For every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated.
There's our guy right there.
What do you got coming up after the break?
I have First Amendment Freestyle Friday. I have Jay St. Clair, so we're going to answer some of your legal questions, and we're going to dive deep into Kamala Harris's economic plan in the 12 o'clock hour.
12 o'clock on Super Talk 99.